So obviously my channel's known for covering Dragon Ball and to a little bit lesser degree Star Wars. And starting in 2017, I was gonna really crank up the Star Wars content. I have a new series starting on the channel this week called Star Wars Discussion. And this is not one of those episodes for that series. I just feel like we should talk about this because I feel like it needs to be talked about. Earlier today, I'm recording this on December 27th, 2016. We found out that Carrie Fisher, who's known to play Princess Leia in the Star Wars, in the original trilogy, as well as Episode 7, The Force Awakens, she passed away, and I figured I should at least do a video talking about this, at least, you know, give some thoughts and condolences and kind of memories of Princess Leia, memories of Carrie Fisher. And joining me to talk about this, he's the first guy I ever did a Star Wars collaboration with who has his own Star Wars channel. So please check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description. And I figure it'd be great to bring him back. He will be a part of the Star Wars discussion series. I promise you that. It's just, I figure he'd be the best guy to bring back because he was the first guy. So please welcome back Evan Nova. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm really glad to be back. Although, honestly, the circumstances in which I'm joining you here today are, well, less than ideal.
Yeah, big time. And pretty much, I mean, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, on Christmas we found out that Carrie Fisher had like a heart attack on a plane or something like
hmm
that. But then we found out
She,
she was recovering. Go ahead.
no, yeah, you're right. She was just coming back, I believe. Where did it say she was vacationing from? Because I remember it said she was heading home, and it happened almost like midway through the flight,
It
I
was
believe.
it was somewhere in Europe. That's all I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. It's just, I'm speechless, man.
No, I am too. And I got home and I was told that this happened. I went online. It was verified that she passed away today. I just, you were talking about it before we started recording. The trinity of Han, Luke, and
Yeah,
Leia is broken, and I'm heartbroken, dude. I'm legitimately heartbroken.
it's just like no, it's like it's you three together. You three are the trilogy. You three are the main characters in the Star Wars franchise, and it's just I honestly can't imagine it being broken now. It's like you think those three, you always think those three, and to have those three not there anymore, it's just like, dude, I feel like a part of me is like broken, man.
Yeah, and I want to talk about her career. I really want to talk about like Star Wars too, but we should
hmm
point out that she did have a. I mean, okay, we got to get the elephant out of the room out for a second.
Yes.
She did have kind of a crazy life, um,
hmm
right? We know that she experimented and things like that, and then it makes you wonder, like, was she happy? And I can tell you that I never met her, but seeing her in interviews and seeing her on Twitter and seeing her in social media, she always seemed really, really happy, but we really don't know the real story. Obviously, besides Star Wars, she also did, she was in Shampoo, she was in the Blues Brothers,
hmm
and more frequently, she was in what I love that she kind of somewhat made fun of herself in some of the Kevin Smith films as well, kind of, sort of. And she came back for Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and she came back for Star Wars Episode 8, which we're going to talk about here shortly.
hmm
I'm not gonna even lie about this one. The first time I saw Star Wars Episode 7: Force Awakens, the scene where her and Han were reunited and they play the John Williams, Leia theme, that shit fucking bro, Niagara Falls for me. I know I sound like a
It is very
fanboy.
touching. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about, Evan, your memories of growing up a Star Wars fan and what you remember about, Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia specifically.
Well, let's go back in time,
Yeah.
back to me, 5-year-old Evan, just coming back from school, and my dad brings in these VHS tapes, which, by the way, kids, are what movies used to be on before Blu-rays and stuff came in. But a lot of people are like, what are VHS tapes?
And you're a
No.
young guy too, so that surprises me that you knew that.
Well,
Right.
I mean, is what it
Humble
is. But
beginnings, right? Yeah.
yeah, well, fun fact: my first Star Wars movie I saw in theater was Phantom Menace. No, but my father actually had the original VHS tapes of the original trilogy in their original format, mind you, and so that was my first introduction to the series, and just you know put your mind in the frame of a little kid. You watch A New Hope for the first time. It opens pretty gruesomely, as many of us know, with the rebels essentially being slaughtered by a bunch of stormtroopers. And then you see Darth Vader coming in, who's just this big, huge, like intimidating, clad in black cyborg demon. And then you see this, beautiful princess all decked out in white, giving the plans to R2D2, and it's like it immediately inspires a sense of hope. That's what I always got from it. When you see Princess Leia up there, just ranting, to Vader defiantly, it really does strike you as a character who, lives up to what's the word? Lives up to her reputation.
Yeah, her reputation.
Yeah, as a leader. I mean, she immediately she strikes you as a leader. She immediately strikes you as somebody who you would follow her. You would
believe her.
You believe in her. You believe her. You believe what she does. You believe, she's not just some sort of figurehead with a pretty face. She is, a rebel in every sense of the word. And she is, like I was saying this before we started as well, if you just go chronologically, film-wise, she is the first quote-unquote good guy we ever see. She's the first one.
The first human, because remember, 3PO and R2, I guess, right?
True, yeah, like the first human, but she is the first, hero character that you can identify with,
Absolutely, and the thing that's interesting about that is we just got done seeing Rogue One last week, and
yeah, seriously,
what a trip, man! The end of that movie, and we'll talk minor spoilers here. Obviously they get the plans, and it picks up right before A New Hope. We saw the CGI recreation of Carrie Fisher from 1977. Not perfect, but it was pretty close to. They missed a little bit on the blush, but it's the best they could do. And now
they brought her back to voice, which was nice as well.
That was her voice? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay, well, that's good. So, in episode 4, of course, we see her defiantly lie to Vader to his face. Now it's confirmed, right? She's like, this is just a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. You are part of Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Like, he knew. Now he knows for sure. We saw your ship escape. Right? But one thing I want to talk about is the importance of Carrie Fisher when it comes to, like, empowering women. Now, I've never had the reputation of being a feminist, but or anything like that, but I do believe in equality, and I think that she was a really powerful role model for girls because she wasn't.
Without question.
Yeah, like she's not like a damsel in distress at all. Like in the movie, they rescue her, but she's spitting in Tarkin's face. She's telling Vader to piss off all throughout. Like she's not giving in.
Hand, give her the blaster, shooting at stormtroopers.
Into the garbage chute. Yeah, dude, like, she's an alpha female, bro, in many sense, And then in Jedi and in Empire, she's still she's going out there with the Minox, she's screaming at Luke, it's a trap, she's...
breaking into Jabba's palace.
Right? With the damn thermal detonator.
Willing to blow up her and everyone else all for the sake of rescuing Han. I mean, she was essentially holding a small nuke, and she didn't care. And didn't care one bit.
And the thing is, a lot of that is because of Carrie's performance, dude, because there's other actresses in Hollywood who I don't think could have nailed that. And she did, because Carrie Fisher as a person, from every interview I've seen, is a rebel. Carrie Fisher, the person, has always done whatever the hell she wanted. She's never been a conformist ever. And I think, talk about, lucky casting, right? Like, they got Harrison Ford, perfect, Mark Hamill, James Earl Jones, of course, Peter Cushing. Yeah. That whole movie's brilliantly cast, the original Star Wars.
Oh, without question. And she was such an unknown at the time that it really was a big gamble for Lucas to choose her. I mean, Shampoo was really the only major feature film she was in before Star Wars, and that was a comedy. That wasn't like a serious, drama or anything. We didn't know, he didn't know the scope of her ability. It was a pretty big risk, but it paid off.
Right? And, no, I agree with you. And I just think, for me, she was the first princess that I ever knew. Like, as a kid, there was
me as well.
Right? We played Nintendo. You had Princess Zelda. You had, Princess Peach, Toadstool, whatever. And then, of course, we have Princess Leia, but she's just she's so different. She's so not a damsel in distress, bro. It carried over into Force Awakens because, and this is a little bit of a spoiler for some of the canon stuff, but I think most of our audience will know this. after the Empire fell, the Princess Leia character was very suspicious of letting the Imperial remnant go into
Unknown
the
regions.
unknown regions, and now look what happened. Like, as far as we know, she
Hmm.
was delegating with the Republic, like, do not disarm. This isn't over yet, and that became a whole political thing. So Leia was, she became a general. She was still fighting into the new trilogy.
Yeah, no, she never stopped. She never backed down. She always saw the mission, as coming first. And like you said, in the novel, especially the novel Bloodlines, which actually talks about, the birth of the resistance. I mean, she's brazenly defying the Senate. She's standing up to corruption. She does not, she is always one step ahead of everybody else. And she
Yeah,
needs to be because, she is typically the smartest person in the room.
and not just that, but she also, obviously, the Force was telling her,
Hmm.
right? Like, that's how I always interpreted it. That the Force was telling her, hey, this isn't over yet. There's, we're gonna find out in the next two films kind of what happened. So her
Yeah.
her scenes were already shot for Episode 8. Um,
Hmm.
what do you think's gonna happen here? In your opinion, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, because it depends entirely on what Leia's characterization in episode 8 is going to be. What are they going to do with her? Is she going to survive? Is she going to play a big role or is she going to play a minor role? I mean, there's a lot. It's very difficult, to determine what they're going to do with it, especially since we know so little about the actual plot.
Yeah, we don't know anything. I mean, I remember
No.
there was a rumored scene that came out earlier this year where
Yeah, where she
apparently,
gets put
like,
into a coma.
yeah, she collapses. Yeah, but we haven't
Hmm.
heard anything about that since then. So I don't know.
No, and to be honest, I doubt that's true in any case. It'd be
Yeah,
pretty lame if it was any. It
yeah,
was.
because then it's like it kind of puts her in that damsel role. But I mean, at the same time though, it is kind of realistic because her son just killed her husband, right? So I can kind of
Hmm.
understand her being kind of not all there mentally because that's pretty traumatizing in itself.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, that goes back to her characterization. How's that going to impact, what she does in episode 8?
Yeah, that's gonna be
There's so
interesting.
much they can potentially do.
Or Episode 9. I mean, because if she survives
Exactly.
8, are they gonna rewrite it so that she dies? I mean, they could rewrite the whole movie now, dude.
Yeah, they could, and it's. I don't know, man. It's nuts.
Yeah. So I
I
mean,
mean,
go ahead,
hmm?
bro. No, you go ahead.
No, it's fine.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm very heartbroken at this, bro. Like I'm heartbroken, not just as a fan of Star Wars, but this woman, like, I really admired her because I always admire people. Carrie Fisher, that is. Have you read her book?
Uh, one of them.
Yeah, I'm referring to the one that I haven't even finished it, bro, and I feel bad about that. Now I definitely will.
Mhm. She's
The,
a talented writer for anybody interested.
yeah, very entertaining. She did the autobiography. I think it was called The Princess Diary.
Mm.
I believe that's the
I
one.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. She, when you read about her, she really. I always respect people who like live by their own code, and I'm not saying, and she obviously, like I said, she wasn't perfect, but she
Mm.
lived by her own code. She did whatever the hell she wanted. She never felt, she never tried to pigeonhole herself into anything. It's just, we need more people like that in the world. I think I honestly believe that, like, having that kind of mentality to not be afraid to say whatever you want. Because, dude, Evan, man, I was pissed off last year when all these internet pieces of shit were talking shit to her on Twitter, and she was just like bouncing, she was deflecting them like Vader did in Rogue One, bro. And I
Yeah,
stood up for
seriously.
her. Dude, I tweeted at her and I was like, don't let them bother you. They would freaking. I told Carrie Fisher this on Twitter, bro. I said, don't let
Right.
them bother you. They would sleep with you in a heartbeat if they could. Which I don't give a fuck. But I figured that would make her feel better because that's Carrie Fisher. She's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something you would say to Carrie Fisher, but
She definitely has that sense of humor.
exactly, yeah, and it's true too. I mean, it's Princess Leia, dude. But
Yeah.
and just seeing her come back in Force Awakens as like the mother of the galaxy. What do you even like? She's like the like she really had that in Force Awakens, man. She really had that look of like the mother that would give you pancakes every Sunday morning type thing. You know what I mean? Like, that makes
No,
sense.
no, yeah, definitely. She definitely has that vibe. Again, it goes back to the leadership role.
And
Some
like,
people are just made for it, man, and she is made for it.
yeah,
You know?
I just saw Billy D. Williams tweet out about this too, and you know he's got to be bummed out as well. I mean, everybody, you know.
Yeah, the whole cast, everybody.
And now she, you know, again, she got resurrected. I hate to use this word. I hate using this word right now, but she was resurrected in Rogue One with the
Yes.
CGI thing. Like, can you watch that movie again the same way now, dude?
Honestly, I don't think I can,
Right?
because that's it for her. You know, it's like, well,
Until 8.
until episode eight, of course, yeah. But it's like, what? It's like, no, man. It's I don't know if I can, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it like for the third time later this week. So
Oh man.
it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I that's going to be a pain. All right, well, thank you Evan for talking to me for a little while here. I appreciate it. I'm going to, you
Hey, no
know,
problem.
let us know your in the comments if you have any thoughts on the passing of Carrie Fisher, and you know, I want to know what people think. I really hate doing these kind of videos on YouTube because YouTube comments tend to, well, you know, I I'm almost afraid to even ask for comments, Evan, because you know there's
Mhm.
you know where I'm going with this.
Of course.
I thought about disabling the comment section for this one, but whatever. I'm gonna leave it open and just feel free to vent your thoughts. And everybody, check out Evan's channel. Evan will be back very soon with a more lighthearted Star Wars discussion. It just sucks because Carrie Fisher is such an important part of Star Wars, bro. Like this is like a piece of Star Wars being ripped away. Like I don't know if Star Wars will ever be the same again. Like this is a big piece that's being ripped away.
No, yeah, one of the three pillars in every sense of the word.
And
And
everything they do carries over from the prequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy. They're like the centerpiece of the whole thing, you know?
yeah, no, her impact can never, ever, ever be denied.
Yeah, I agree. All right, thanks, bro, and we'll talk to y'all later.